Today I wanted to show some drawings I did when I was in development department one time. And they were working on a bunch of different stories that they wanted to pitch to the network to be TV series or specials. The one I was on it for a little bit was The Secret Garden. And they had, I think, 2 drawings by Mitch Schauer of a little girl in a backyard watering some plants or something. I wish I had saved all those drawings. And they said, well, it takes place in New York City, either in Brooklyn or in Manhattan, residential area. And I think they may have had one drawing that I could look at for reference, which I don't have that, but I had to get reference material to do these drawings that I did. And this was my drawing of a brownstone, and then the pseudo mansion that the little girl and I guess her grandmother lived in. And this is a better shot of the brownstone. So to do that, what I did was I went to, here's another brownstone. I got reference materials to draw books of photographs of different kinds of houses. They wanted this to be a Victorian house, so I got a book about Victorian houses. This was a down shot of the backyard for the Victorian house and the brownstones next to it that I did. I'll bring it up a little closer so you can see a little better. So the backyard was this magical place, and these backyards were kind of raggedy, but I did this down shot. I'm pretty sure it was bigger than this. So there's a better shot of it. And I had so much fun. It was like a week and a half I worked on this. Not this drawing, but on this project. And this was at Marvel Studio. There's a better shot. A little lighter. Of the Victorian Mansion and the backyard. And there's another down shot of the backyard showing a pathway into it. This was supposed to be water. Big old tree here. Tricycle. Shopping cart. There's an old tire. Certain type of fence for those types of houses. So to do that, I went to this great bookstore that used to be on Friar Street out in Van Nuys. And I found these books about houses and their designs. And this was the first one, A Field Guide to American Architecture. And so this was the first book I got. The second book I got for the Victorian houses I no longer have. I guess I gave that away a couple of years ago. But this one was great. It had all these different, as you can see, it's falling apart because the glue decided to give way. Field Guide to American Architecture. It always starts with how to use this book. Never read that. Because the book wasn't meant to be used by some animator designing houses. So what I got in the book, though, was these pages of different houses. These are colonial houses, which date back to the 1600s and 1700s. And I skipped through here, stick-style houses, Victorians. So I use stuff like this as reference to design the mansion where they lived. So I took what was in these books and did these drawings based on the photo reference that I got. And so I took various things from various houses and combined them. And when you are doing stuff like design for animation, you need to be able to look at stuff and interpret it to give you what you want, or the director or boss what he wants. And so if somebody gives you limited amount of information, you have to be able to interpret that into something that is needed for the picture. And this is what we did. We collected books and magazines for reference back in those days. And most of us had quite a collection of magazines and books from various stores, various types of magazines. A lot of people had stacks of National Geographic because it had stuff from around the world. But all these drawings, plans of these houses, elevation drawings of the houses, all these buildings, this is the stuff that makes up your reference library. That's a great downshot of the Phoenix Mill in Paterson, New Jersey, which is what these two elevation drawings are, is this. When you're in animation, they will sometimes give you this and this and expect you to make a drawing that looks like this downshot. And some of it is guesswork because you don't have all the information, but a lot of it's based on these two views to make a drawing that's like this. I found that so much fun. And that's how I was able to do the downshot, was taking what I had in the photograph and extrapolating that information to get this. And the brownstones I just kind of guessed, but the Victorian Mansion, I may have had a view that was here and in the front and maybe half a view in the back, and then I figured out how to make this 3/4 downshot of it. So that's something to keep in mind when you're doing backgrounds, is rounding up your reference material and figuring out how to make the views you need based on the reference stuff that you have. I'm assuming this will be a bunch of factories of some kind, or barns, bridges. There's a dam in Salt Lake County, Utah. So there's so many things to do in animation, so many things to draw, so much stuff to have fun looking up and then doing your drawing. Being able to do a 3/4 shot and all they've given you is this. So then how do you turn those views so that you're doing a 3/4 down shot or up shot, and you interpolate all of this information to do that shot? And taking my handy pad of paper here. And you can draw in whatever color you like. So we've got these views of this building here, which is a church in Portland, Maine. And we want to give somebody a 3/4 shot of this church. And what you do is you start with a simple shape. So start with a box. Let's say you also start with the horizon line here. And then put in your box shape here. This will be the corner. Put your center line in there in the front because this is the front of it. And the big steeple is up here. And then you don't have to do the exact, you can make changes as you want. This big steeple up here. And this is part of the roof line, it seems. And it goes further up. And this part up here is actually probably 8-sided, if not 6-sided. And then here, it's got this window here, round window here. So maybe this one's a little bit shorter. Two round windows on the side. And then windows here, like are on the second story. And you're just roughing in, so you don't have to be exact. Where these windows come up here, draw lines back here to guide us as to where the windows on the side are, and there's 5 on the side. So there's one window, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then there's 5 on the first floor, and they should be right underneath. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then the front has these doors, which seem to be about the same height as the windows. There's 1 door, 2, 3, and we can refigure where the floor line is, just make adjustments. There's a clock here. There's all kinds of knickknacks up here, detail stuff. But this is how you rough in everything. Seems to be a bit of a chimney in the back there. And looks like there's stairs in the front that carry out this way and then down. And there's there's so many steps on these stairs like that. This goes up here. Come down to the corner there. And that's your basic drawing there. There's arches over the doors. Doors are double doors. Or maybe they're not. Maybe they're just single doors. But they have the design on the door. Kind of like that. And the whole thing is got wooden slats across the sides there. There's shutters on the windows. The windows have a lot of panes on them. This one's got shutters. Yeah, so there's shutters on this. So these don't exist. That's on the back. There's a clock here. Is that the back or the front? That's the front. So this line comes down like this. And down here. And the clock, so this line stops here, and then there's a clock here. So that doesn't, and that's out. And right above that, that's where all of this stuff is. And then you can take one of your favorite pencils and lightly go over stuff just to show what you have in mind. This, and you can make changes like you want. So you're just freehanding this. You're not doing exact by any means. So a lot of tiny glass panes there. So anyway, that's something that you have to be able to do when you're doing BG design. Is draw any building from any angle based on limited information of what you have. like I said, I had a lot of fun doing this. If you don't, maybe you need to hire somebody that can do it for you, but at least give it a try. Looks like there's a handrail that comes down like that. In the meantime, just keep drawing and keep having fun, and we'll see you next time.